Picture this. You're standing in a room that is pitch black. Suddenly, the heavy sound of a massive steel vault unlocking echoes through the space. The thick door slowly swings open, and inside, you see these perfect, crisp stacks of $100 bills. Everything feels incredibly safe, right? Completely secure. But then, without any warning, the lights flicker. The money isn't on fire. Nobody broke in to steal it. It just begins fading away, almost like ice melting under the hot afternoon sun. One bill disappears, then another, and another. You see, the safest place isn't always the smartest place. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to dive deep into exactly why the wealthy do not leave most of their long-term wealth sitting in a bank account, and more importantly, what they actually do instead. So let's play a little game. If I handed you $1 million right now, today, where would you put it? Now, most people answer without even blinking. The bank, obviously. And hey, for money you need in the short term, that makes perfect sense. It feels responsible. But here is where we hit a massive difference in thinking. Wealthy people rarely ask, where can I keep my money? Instead, they're asking, where can my money keep working? That one single shift in perspective, it's literally the entire difference between just saving your money and actually building generational wealth.
Chapter 1, The Lie We Grow Up Believing, Saving versus Growing Wealth.
Look, almost all of us grew up being told to simply save our money. And it's fantastic advice, but somewhere along the line, we accidentally absorb the second lesson that simply isn't true at all. We start believing that saving money and growing money are the exact same thing. They are completely different beasts. Let's imagine two friends, Emma and Michael. Every single month, both of them put aside exactly $100. Emma keeps every single dollar in her traditional savings account. Michael keeps a solid emergency fund in the bank, but he invests the rest of it for the long haul. 10 years pass by. Both of them worked incredibly hard. Both made sacrifices. But at the end of that decade, one of them owns a growing portfolio, while the other owns a slowly shrinking opportunity. Not because of bad decisions, but because money behaves entirely differently depending on where it actually lives.
Think about it like this. A $25,000 balance in a savings account feels amazing and safe because the number doesn't ever drop. For 10 whole years, that number remains perfectly, comfortably still. But while that number is sitting perfectly still, the cost of literally everything around it is quietly skyrocketing. Rent, cars, healthcare, even your favorite burger down the street. I mean, a burger that cost $5 10 years ago might cost twice as much today. The number on your bank statement hasn't changed at all, but it simply doesn't buy the same life anymore. Your purchasing power is silently fading away, just exactly like that melting ice in our vault. And that brings us to our first truly major mindset shift. Wealthy families do not measure their financial success by how much cash they have sitting around in checking. They measure success by the assets they own. Cash protects today's spending. Assets, on the other hand, have the potential to grow over time and actually fund tomorrow's goals. For the wealthy, a bank account isn't the final destination for their money. It's honestly just a waiting room. The money arrives there, rests for a minute, and then gets assigned a very specific job.
Chapter 2, Give Every Dollar a Job, The Strategy of the Wealthy.
So, the wealthy give every single dollar a specific job. Think of your finances kind of like a busy airport where every dollar has a specific flight to catch. Step 1 is protection. Some of your dollars are basically bodyguards in your emergency fund, hanging out in the bank, ready to jump in for a sudden medical bill or a random car repair. Step 2 is your living expenses. That's the money assigned to pay for your present needs, your day-to-day life. But Step 3 is where the magic actually happens. Once the present is protected, the remaining dollars get a brand new assignment: growth. They are planted like seeds. Because honestly, it's a total tragedy to let your extra dollars sit in a savings account doing absolutely nothing. It's like hiring a bunch of top-tier employees just to have them sit quietly in an empty office for 20 years. There is a profound truth about human limitation that we all have to face. You can always go out and earn another dollar, but you can literally never create another hour. Most people work for money, right? They trade their limited hours for a paycheck. But wealthy people eventually flip the script and make their money work for them. Productive assets continue to work even while you are fast asleep. While you're resting, the businesses you own a piece of are still out there selling products, shipping packages, and developing new tech all over the world. So a genuinely healthy financial system perfectly balances protection, present needs, and future growth. The wealthy didn't necessarily get there just because they earned the highest salaries. They got there because they consistently turned their income into this beautifully diversified collection of productive assets. They are actively participating in global economic growth rather than just letting their cash sit idle.
But you're probably wondering, if this system is so incredibly powerful, why doesn't everyone just do it? Well, the answer isn't actually about the money at all.
Chapter 3, The Battle in Your Mind, Present Bias versus Future Wealth.
Honestly, the absolute hardest part of building wealth isn't actually earning the money, it's keeping it long enough to actually change your future. The second your paycheck hits your account, the entire world starts competing for it. Advertisers, restaurants, car dealerships. Psychologists actually have a name for this. It's called present bias. It's our brain's natural, hardwired tendency to value immediate rewards way more highly than future ones. It's the exact same reason eating a donut today feels so much easier than going to the gym for your long-term health tomorrow. Decades ago, there was this famous experiment that offered kids 1 marshmallow right now or 2 if they could just wait a few minutes. The lesson wasn't about candy, of course. It was about the ability to delay gratification. Choosing a stronger tomorrow over a more comfortable today is without a doubt the hardest psychological barrier in investing.
I absolutely love this quote. It hits the nail right on the head. If you don't give your future a seat at today's table, it rarely gets invited. This right here is the secret behind Michael's success from our earlier example. He didn't win the lottery. He just paid his future self first. Before he bought groceries, before he paid for weekend entertainment, he treated his future self as his single most important monthly expense. That small, kind of unglamorous habit of transferring money into investments before buying anything else, that is the literal cornerstone of wealth. And it all boils down to a very simple, repetitive loop. Earn, save, invest. Repeat. The wealthy know better than anyone that human motivation is totally unreliable. You might feel super inspired to invest today, but next month, you might really want that shiny new gadget instead. Because motivation disappears, the wealthy build automated systems. Habits remain when emotions fade. By making that earn, save, invest, repeat cycle automatic, your money stops wandering around. And let me tell you, wandering money has a terrible habit of just disappearing completely. A lot of people assume successful investors are just glued to their screens every single day, nervously sweating over stock charts. Actually, scratch that. It's usually the total opposite. In reality, once an automated system is running, the most successful investors spend very little time watching their portfolios. They close the laptop, go have dinner with their families, and just let time do the heavy lifting. Time is absolutely the hardest working employee you have. By taking a step back, they let patience achieve what panic never, ever could. Chapter 4, The Wealth Mindset, Small Decisions, Massive Impact. You see, wealth is rarely built through one big dramatic leap or a lucky lottery ticket. It's built through thousands of tiny, small decisions with the money you already possess. Let's contrast 2 paths for when you get a raise at work. The first path is an immediate lifestyle upgrade. Buying a bigger car, taking on higher monthly expenses. The paycheck grows, sure, but the expenses grow right alongside it, leaving the actual bank balance completely stagnant. But the second path, that's upgrading your future. You take a modest portion to celebrate with a nice dinner, but then you funnel the rest of that raise directly into increasing your investments. Wealthy people don't see extra income as a permission slip to spend more. They see it as an incredible opportunity to own more productive assets. Because here's the thing. Time solves problems that money never can. You can always go out and hustle to earn another paycheck. You can pick up an extra shift, ask for a raise, or start a side business. But you can absolutely never buy back the uninvested years. Every single year you delay is one less year your money has the chance to multiply and compound. The goal isn't necessarily to become rich by tomorrow morning. It is to give time the runway it desperately needs to do its job. I want you to genuinely take a second and imagine meeting yourself 20 years from now. What do you think that future version of you would tell you? Would they look back and say, "Man, I really wish you had bought a more expensive phone back then," or "I wish you kept every single dollar hiding safely under a mattress"? No way. They would thank you for every quiet, seemingly boring investment decision you made. Those small, totally unexciting choices are exactly what become the massive foundation for a life full of real freedom and options. Now, to be clear, the goal of this explainer wasn't to tell you to completely avoid banks. Not at all. Banks are a vital tool. They protect your emergency fund and make your everyday transactions actually possible. The true lesson here is about balancing the protection of the bank with the powerful engine of assets. Don't ask where your money is. Ask what your money is doing. Cash is the waiting room, assets are the workers. Mastering the balance between those two is the ultimate financial skill you can possibly develop. But right before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final kind of provocative thought. Today we covered why the wealthy don't just park all their cash in the bank. But what if the absolute biggest financial mistake you make has nothing to do with where you keep your money and literally everything to do with what you buy with it?
In our next explainer, we are going to dive deep into exactly why the rich buy assets while everyone else buys liabilities, and how that one single distinction dictates who achieves financial freedom and who stays trapped. You really won't want to miss it. Until then, keep learning, keep investing, and remember, give every dollar a purpose.